What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 159 of Value Town. I'm ChanManV, and joining me is Gaara, very sweaty from the gym as he sprints back in time for the show. How you doing,
man?
He made
it, though.
Yes, he did.
I'm just super excited to be on the show.
Very excited. Yes, glistening excited.
That's all.
Yeah, we had some time zone or daylight savings type of issues because I just keep forgetting that we have Europeans on this show every week now, so I have to think about the time zones over there, and I totally forgot to tell Gaara that we had an hour change this past Sunday. So
Feels to you, man.
Yeah. Right. Well, we've got two special guests on the show. I think you guys are first timers too. You've never been on Value Town, right? But Shady and Dreads here, and
correct.
And it felt like it was time to do an arena episode because we haven't done one in a year, maybe longer. I don't even remember last time we had, like Murphs and I walked in the guys on the show. So I thought it was the right time to do it, given that 10.4 is out now, and then we got thrown the Witchwood on top of all that, early in the week.
All in 1 week,
exactly.
Everything.
So we've got a lot to talk about today, and it's going to be super fun. But welcome to the show, Shady and Dreads. Yeah.
Hello. It's great to be here. I'm excited.
Guys, for whatever reason, you guys don't know them. These are two of our favorite arena streamers, so you can definitely catch them on Twitch and follow them on Twitter and everything, obviously. But in terms of I guess topics today, we're going to definitely be talking about just arena, get a state of the arena kind of thing from you guys. And I know a lot of new things just came out too, so it might be kind of hard to judge that. Some things are probably in flux, but be awesome to get that total rundown from you guys. And then the Witchwood, we're going to go through all the new cards, going to talk about that cool video that that the two guys made, and then just a lot of things surrounding the new expansion and excitement around it. And then a little bit of HCT in there too with Toronto going on. But why don't we start with just kind of like what we do each week, which is what have we been doing in Hearthstone. And given that we talked all about the ladder and the issues of the ladder, I figure we might want to kind of maybe end that conversation, Gaara, and see how things are now with the ladder. Is it better now? Have things corrected after just all the issues that we had last week?
Yeah, but apparently the climb is still extremely slow, especially on high legend. You gain 2 ranks or you lose 2 ranks per win or per game, which is completely unheard of.
Isn't that how it's supposed to be though?
No. It was especially last season.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was probably buggy as well last season because you climbed on NA, especially from rank 10 to rank 1 in one jump. Probably because everyone was camping, but we never had that because of the competitions, because so many people went for it. And now you have the complete opposite. You have to literally gain 1 rank per game.
It's crazy grind.
Super slow.
Yeah, crazy.
And it starts at rank 30 already. So you go from 30 to 28 and then to 26. It's super slow.
Well, at least it doesn't start in the hundreds. I mean, that would be near impossible to get into the top, 50 or top 25. But it does feel like at least it's crazy. I mean, at least you guys aren't losing a bunch of ranks versus how many you gain every time you win. Because that was happening for a while too, right? People would just stop playing because every time they won, they would gain 50 ranks, and when they lose, they'd lose 70 ranks. So it was just a net negative type of thing for them.
Yeah, but probably they haven't resetted the MMR of the people that were high.
Yeah,
because they didn't play.
Okay.
And if you want to catch up or surpass them, you probably need to gain crazy MMR. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows if Blizzard?
Are very few people playing High Legend right now then, just because it's not really worth it?
I mean, the people
getting to a rank and then kind of stopping, or
the thing is, the people that are high, they're not dropping. So these people are not playing. They have no reason to play. If they would be dropping, then yeah.
Yeah, I heard there's a little bit. I heard there's more camping going on in the Asian servers than there or the Asian server versus EU and NA. So that's good. I mean, it's going to fix itself more if everybody's playing, right? It's going to at least fix itself faster when that's happening. But aren't you guys glad you don't have to deal with that, Shady and Dreads? Don't have to.
That's one thing we don't have to worry about.
Yeah, we have other things, but for sure, that's nice.
Yeah, definitely other issues, but yeah, that one was.
I saw Tyler's tweet about it, and I was like, that doesn't look like fun. He had some stats about what he was.
Yeah, his progress, right? Yeah, as he was.
And I was like, yeah, I'm glad I'm not having to worry about that.
Yeah, you get to just start a new draft and everything's gone.
Just reset. That's the beauty of Arena there. hopefully it'll get fixed. And I mean, we're about midway through the month now, so still a little bit of time. And the one thing we don't want is for at the end of the season, people just feel like it should be invalidated. Like they just feel like the month wasn't a correct, and like what ended up happening in terms of points and stuff just didn't feel right. So I hope it gets corrected quickly here, so that we at least have a good week and a half or a week of just what should be happening in the legend ranks.
Yeah, I can talk about it more next week because I'm still climbing like the third server to legend.
Yeah,
and I should be legend tomorrow on all 3 servers. Then I start climbing on servers, and then I can talk about it about them more.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Why don't we actually go into arena? I kind of like listed these out in probably the improper order. It's just going to be kind of weird talking about I think the announcement if we then talk about arena. So given that we've got Shady and Dreads here, I want to make sure we at least cover all the arena topics. But yeah, why don't we just start off with the changes, like the changes with the draft and the different weights, at least what you're going to be offered. Overall, how do you guys feel about it? And maybe just what's your favorite change out of all of them so far?
I'll let Shady go ahead.
Yeah, for me, and I think that's for everyone, the favorite change is the actual drafting. Mm-hmm. I think the drafting is really fun. It's not polished at all. Like one of the things, for instance, is the best cards seem to be pretty close together, even though sometimes there's like, that's maybe not as powerful as, like, for instance, Vorax is thrown in with Deathwing for no reason.
What is up with that? I've seen Vorax with premium legendaries like 4 times. Yeah.
Yeah. It's either that or they're anticipating all the steeds and they're like, Vorax is going to be really
What? That's Vorax with Deathwing? Seriously?
Yeah, I've had packs. There's been a lot of packs like that.
My Terran pack and all that. So it seems to be top tier rated right now. But anyway, like the bottom, right? Like the really bad cards and the below average cards are all just dumped together. Mm-hmm. So you can get like 2 really, really bad cards and then 1 totally playable card. So,
but that's like that wasn't the whole point of this draft change, is to not have that ever happen again.
Okay. Like, like the system is fun and looks cool, but it's like completely not polished. So it can definitely use a lot of work there.
I mean, if that was the design of it, then is this an issue more about maybe filtering based on MMR, like having different choices based on that, or is it like clearly that the Blizzard's global system of arena just has these crazy type of ranks for cards that we just didn't realize?
I think it happens just because they haven't made that separation.
Okay. Dreads, what I
think
just like they just have like.
I think overall it's pretty good though. Like there's some where like one card is significantly worse, but I think like, that's not really a big complaint for me. Like as long as there's some decision to be made in each pick, and it does feel like that's kind of how it is right now.
Yeah,
like, you do have to think about pretty much every pick, which never used to be the way, right? It used to be like, oh, Fireball, Ice Barrier, okay, on to the next pick, right?
Right.
So I do think they've made and I agree with what Shady said, that's definitely the big bright spot from the changes. I have to focus a lot more during the draft, and there's a lot to figure out. Mm-hmm. But what I also worry about it is I've been seeing a lot of the same cards offered against each other, like over and over and over again. Oh. And I worry that as that goes on, like if you're playing the same meta for a month or 2 months, and it's like, oh, the same 3 cards again, then it won't be as much
like
thought
robot drafting, right? Like we all know which one's actually better over time, right? So you just
I mean for priest, so I'm guilty of playing a lot of priests in arena, and
nice.
One of the packs I've seen a lot is you see Draconid Operative, and then like a premium removal card AoE, like a Psychic Scream or a Dragonfire or a Potion of Madness, and it's always the same. Like you have that grade 5 drop. And then, or you pick a card that you have to take. So it's like, I used to like going for Dragon Synergy and getting AoE, right? But now it's like you pick. Do you want to try to go for the dragons, or do you want to, have a chance to win?
Okay.
And so I feel like they probably need to widen like the
variance.
So
yeah, like I know.
Yeah, like it's not always the same 2 or 3, the same. Let's say pick of there's 3 cards, but it could only be 5 options total. So you see the same packs over and over again, and then it gets kind of old.
You know
Maybe
what
right
this
now,
reminds me
that's
of?
not
I
really
really want
mine.
to jump onto that.
Yep.
It reminds me of when you get a card suggested in the deck creation
Yep.
in the collection. They always like suggest you Sea Giants. Do you remember? It's like whatever class you create, they always suggest the same 3 or 4 cards, like Sogod, Deathwing, Sea Giant, and it was actually funny. It's very similar.
Same thing over and over again. Yeah, and like right now we've only been playing it for a couple of days, but after doing it for a long time, I think that that's going to get a little bit old.
It seems like an easy fix though. It's just like a slider. Literally, they can just widen the power range, between what they offer, or because it feels like they just choose one card, and then the other 2 cards they base it off some, power range, and they choose randomly between these cards that are probably within this power range. So, or it's maybe they just choose all 3 from a power, whatever it is, right? But right now it seems like that range is pretty small, so that's why you're seeing the same thing over again. But overall, it's a good change, right? I think the whole community seems to have like really enjoyed it, and a lot of people going back to playing Arena right now too, which is, that's goal number 1, right, for Blizzard, and I think just generally the Arena community is just great for it.
Yeah, for drafting, that is.
Yeah,
That's
for
the
drafting.
caveat.
Sorry, yeah, for drafting.
Yeah, it's very different from
Yeah.
like the total experience, but yeah, for sure.
But I think if they, we'll obviously talk about some of our complaints, let's say, but I think if they can, I think the drafting is such a good change that these other things, it shouldn't be, famous last word, it shouldn't be that difficult to kind of modify them a little bit so that it's a better experience. So I'm hopeful. I mean, I've seen, people tend to kind of focus on the negative, and I tend to try to focus on the positive. But yeah, I'm hopeful that if they address some of these issues, it'll be a much better experience for everybody. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Make it happen, Blizzard.
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
There's
so
a lot of room for improvement. So
yeah, true. Well, another thing that was released too was just all those new cards, right, that were voted on in BlizzCon, and now we're actually seeing them out in the wild now. And what's your thoughts on that? Like, are these 9 cards having a lot of impact? I wanted to pull some stats today. I just figured that the stats just weren't enough. There just wasn't enough stats really just to really make any kind of conclusion. So we'll definitely be doing that soon, whether it's next week on Valleytown or an article. But yeah, initial thoughts on that, Dreads, like the impact of these 9 cards. I mean, are they good enough to be played all the time?
So a few of them, like it's
okay.
Like basically the Shaman one, it's a 0-cost card, deal 12 damage to all minions. So what you can,
that's great.
It's absolutely bonkers. So, and it's not really the mechanic I want to see a lot of. I mean, I'm a big hater on Psychic Scream. Shady and I have talked about Psychic Scream a lot, but this is like you destroy everything, and then if you do it on turn 10, you refill the board completely, and then you pass a turn. But like that swing is so huge, and if you're in trouble earlier, you can do it on turn 4, turn 5, whatever. So that card is absolutely bonkers. The Warrior Weapon is really bonkers. So the Warrior Weapon, I believe it's a 3-cost weapon with 3 charges to attack, and it cleaves. So you hit one thing, it attacks whatever's next to it. And so you can really, if someone just plays a 3/2, you wait until they play something else, and then you get a cleave off. And it's that card's pretty insane. The Hunter one doesn't seem very good. The Priest one, well, I don't want to go through each one individually, but those 2
you can go through half. We'll let Shady go through the other half.
Well, for me, those 2 really stand out as being like great. And I haven't had a lot of experience with some of the other cards, but those 2 just, they're really good.
Okay, yeah. Oh, Gar, you're gonna.
Yeah, I would say that's like those. Sorry, go
Just
ahead.
one question: like, how common is the Shaman one into Snow Fury Giant on turn 1? Does this happen very often? Like, I've seen Reddit posts about it.
I haven't seen it yet. But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen often. But
It's like turn 1 win.
game over.
Well, if you get to choose Crackling Down right off the bat, oh man, you're just like, come on, son. Come on, Giants. Like
I
the
would
rest
take
of the
it.
way.
I'm a bit of a
4
memer,
Giants.
so I would take it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be totally sick. Shady, thoughts on any of the most impactful cards here?
Oh, I mean, definitely the sword. The sword is crazy, and then the shaman card. I like cards like that because I like the way I play shaman. I play very, very controlled if I can. So It's like Volcano for me is like a really fun card to play with because you can just, draft really greedy and then swing the board back and have a lot more cards than the opponent. I think the other two that are like pretty decent are like Smoke Bomb and the Polymorph ? Because obviously, like just being able to, turn a steed into something else or being able to upgrade your minion, that's like fine. They're not as good as the other ones, but I would say you've got like the Sword and Crackling Doom, then you got Smoke Bomb and the Polymorph ? And then now I don't want to group all the others together because I think the Warlock one's like really bad.
Actually, the
really
Druid
slow,
one's
so-
pretty good too, Shady. Have you seen that one in action?
Action yet, but I don't see druids, so that's probably why.
Yes. So the Druid one, I think it's what, give a minion
5/5,
plus
yeah.
5/5, yeah, and return to your hand. So I've seen it on like a Stonehill Defender. I've seen it on
Ooh, nice.
Chain Gang.
Mhm.
So it's one of those cards where you have to really try to work to make it happen. But it's been, when I've seen it go off, it's like, oh,
Well, the sick
That-
battle
that
cry
get
cards,
Really
right? Like,
slow, so,
yeah.
yeah.
It's
I can
really
see
Yeah.
that.
I really like the flavor of the polymorph
Yeah,
one
I
though.
don't see
Like,
druids.
I like being able to choose what you turn something into. Unfortunately, you can. Are the choices just completely random? Like, could you actually be given 3 choices that are like Ragnaros and like all these? I mean, if we were playing Wild, right?
yeah.
Is it just completely random, or is it like something at least less than 5
think
mana?
so.
Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind then. that one could potentially blow up in your face.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that, to be honest. But yeah, it's a fun card. I actually don't know how strong that one is, but it's definitely a funny card to
Yeah,
to
the
see
flavor is
played.
cool about it. But
Yeah.
okay, well, it doesn't sound like they're. I mean, they sound like at least a few of them are super powerful, and the way it's weighted, Warrior needs it, right? So it's kind of good that Warrior would get something like that. How's Shaman in the rankings for a class? Somewhere in the middle? Is that right, or is it towards the bottom?
I think right now, like I haven't played one yet, but from what I've seen, I think they're probably around spot 3, maybe 3, 4. Like
Yeah,
I'd
I
say
think that's,
around
Had the
or maybe even a little higher. I think they're.
Could be
I
around.
played twice, I think, and I like going for Jades definitely seems to work. I've seen a lot of streamers playing it and myself playing it. It's you get, I had a guy play 4 Jade Claws in his first like 6 or 7 turns, and I was like, well, I lose. So
right.
It's like a little bit like tinfoil hats, but do you think they have like a hidden synergy thing where if you pick Jades early, you get more Jades?
yeah,
Right.
who knows? I mean, I just
Oh my
I think
God.
they've just boosted it. Like there's a lot of Jades everywhere.
Oh man.
I see that as well. Where I feel it feels like way easier to get synergy. Obviously, normally I would say you're crazy for saying something like this, but if Blizzard would just tell us, then we wouldn't have to sit here wondering like, I wonder if I pick Jades early.
I feel like this
Like,
is going to
I
be
think it's
a common theme in this episode. If Blizzard told us, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is really cool to finally see this out, in the game itself, because when they first announced that at BlizzCon, you're just like, oh, that's kind of a cool, novelty type of thing that they're doing. You're trying to pull Arena into the whole BlizzCon thing, and people get to vote on it, cool. And we've been waiting for it for months now, so to finally see it actually put into play, that's really, really awesome from the standpoint of the dev team.
It was kind of a joke in channels. It was like,
Right.
yeah, those read-only cards soon, right?
Right.
Any day now, they're coming.
Right. Yeah, totally. But okay, why don't we talk about, I guess maybe in terms of just overall Arena, what are the things maybe if you can still frame it that way, but what are the biggest things that you think in terms of the classes, the balance, and things like that? That are maybe good right now, and then some things that need some work. And why don't we start with you, Shady? Like, what are some of your biggest things that you're happy about, and then your biggest concerns?
So the state of Arena in general, I'm always a fan of increasing the amount of spells and weapons and such. And I think as well with just boosting the quality of the cards is you're just gonna you're helpless less often, because like going back to old school Arena where you'd have a lot less weapons and spells, I really didn't like, oh, my opponent played a zombie chow and a mini bot, I guess I just lose now. Because there's no way, because you have to come back through minions, right? You were the exception if you had a quality consecrate, or if you had like maybe Mage, like with Blizzard Flame Strike, but that was it. So I really like that there's a lot of reactive things in the arena right now, because I think that does promote the skill aspect, even though that gets hated upon by, I call them like Curvestone elitists. You go like, oh, this is not arena, this is constructed. You're not supposed to be able to come back from that. But I don't like that. I don't like that mindset where people go like, I had a good early game.
Yeah.
I was supposed to win. I was like, no, you have to play well throughout the entire game. And you need to dodge. That's one of the points why I don't mind Psychic Scream. Like you just, there are ways to play around. People don't, and then they complain about the card being there. So that's something I really enjoy, is like a lot of reactive things. Like you're never truly dead. Like you can come back.
So how do you do that in an environment that's, you know, supposed to be random? We know that there is some weightedness to it, and they tweak it, and we'll talk about more of that in a little bit. But like, how would you propose doing that? Is there some kind of way to indicate you want, you know, those type of cards somewhere, maybe when you like right when you start the draft, or is this weighted, you know, type of thing the best?
Do you mean how to draft for a reactive deck, or what was the question?
Oh, I mean, you know, like I think you're a proponent of just more spells and more weapons and things like that. Do you think the balance right now is good, or do you think that you know, maybe the way it's implemented right now isn't the correct way to do it, you know, in terms of trying to get more of those type of reactive cards?
Well, there is currently a bonus on spells and weapons. Blizzard a while ago, and like I like Arena more since then. But the way how it's implemented right now is we just see a lot of really, really powerful cards. So I think in that regard, that can probably be toned down a little bit. As I mentioned, I think the way how it's offered is it just gets offered in, you know, call it a bucket, right? We have the top tier bucket with Tyrians and Terrans and all the other crazy cards. And it feels like that particular bucket gets offered too frequently right now. If you, like, for instance, I pick every silence I see because I know my paladin opponent's going to have a steed. And if I'm in higher wins, I know he's going to have 2 or 3 steeds.
The silence meta.
Yeah, like I picked an owl, like a snap picked it, because I'm like, you're going to do work, man. It's like same with warlocks, they're going to have void lords, you just know. So especially high wins. So in that regard, down like just the rock. And I think that's the main complaint of the arena community right now, is like, it doesn't feel like arena, because it's, per game is like, you know, like before I'd be like, wow, this guy had 2 Tyrians, that's crazy. Whereas now it's like, I mean, I've had a game before, and you know, the people just play a bunch of Tyrians.
He's only hit now it's like he's only got 2 Tyrians. I mean, really? It's like, I'm used to people that got 4 Tyrians or something now. That's kind of crazy. Dreads, what's your take on this? Like, in terms of
yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with Shady's point about card quality. It's a bit too high. Like I do think they did it on, well, they obviously did it on purpose. Like this is an accident, you know. But it does lose a little bit of the fun for me when you see these really powerful legendaries like every other game. And that's not even an exaggeration. You see them all over the place. And so, you know, like what Shady said, it used to be like, oh wow, they had that card. Now it's kind of like, oh, another one. Oh, another Aya. Oh, like, oh, I'm losing to Lich King again. You know, this is the 4th time today. It's I don't know, that's not very fun, at least to me. So I think if they offer more bad packs, and you know, maybe a few less of these, you really see mages with 3 meteors, 2 flame strikes. It's a little bit crazy. And I think if you do also, this is one of my big complaints, if you draft a bad deck, like I had a druid deck the other day, and I could just tell as soon as I drafted, I'm like, there's no way I can go to battle with this thing against like what I've been seeing out there. And so, you know, I had like a combo with I forget the name of the card, the 2/3 that gives your taunts +2/+2. We call it Bolster Bear, but anyhow, that was Spreading Plague, and that was like how I tried to win. It was like, okay,
oh wow,
wait, make this work. If it doesn't work, you just kind of lose. And the card quality was just lower than what I had seen. And it felt really bad because you know everyone else is gonna have a really insane deck. And so taking that into the arena felt pretty bad. So yeah, I mean, I think the drafting changes are great. They need to be modified a little bit. I think card quality is way too high. I think the classes, like you can, I played Warrior once and it felt pretty good. And I've seen other people playing Warrior. And, Warrior is normally an arena, the one that, oh yeah, just pick anything but Warrior because you're going to have a bad time with that class, right?
Right.
But it's actually, it felt okay to me. Again, since and Shady's the biggest person to talk about this, we've only been playing for a couple of days, so it's hard to make too many conclusions from it. But like as far as class tier lists and things like that. But I've enjoyed it. It's new and different is always good. But yeah, it's a work in progress for sure.
Yeah,
we hope at least.
Yeah, in terms of card quality, it seems to be something that a lot of people are talking. Edwakta had this post today that's like on the top of Reddit right now that talks about it too. And if you actually look at HS Replay right now, which I'll bring up in a second, you can. I think the biggest culprit that stands out when you're looking at just all the cards, this is like percentage of decks it's in, is Lich King, right? Lich King is in 9.5% of decks right now in arena decks.
That's bonkers.
Which is crazy, and we all know how. Just how much value Lich King gives you in an arena environment too. It's insane. So
and it's huge swing cards from Lich King, right? It's like depending on what they get, if you get a card that destroys all minions or whatever, you're just it's one of the big swing cards. Just like he had Lich King and then he rolled a good one. He didn't get Death Grip, and it's like I lose. That's not a real rewarding way to win others. Maybe if your deck's crazy enough, you can come back, right? Mm-hmm. But they definitely need to tone that down. And also, I think we're kind of, I don't know if Shady's also feels this way, but Paladin seems to be the best. And a lot of,
Well, if you look at the top here, guys, with the top is Stonehill Defender, right? And Paladins benefit a lot from that.
I think
30%.
Stonehill's bugged right now.
It might be.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
it might be.
What is it?
Yeah, or they did something intentionally, right?
Yeah.
But today, my first 7 Stonehills all had legendaries. Like at least one legendary. I think in my run I had in twice for Terran because I was like, Terran's better. So just to give you an idea of the quality, and I think I had 3 Tyrians pulled and 3 or 4 Terrans pulled.
I've been offered a lot of Lich Kings from that little turtle guy.
It's
been pretty bonkers.
Yeah,
and also Paladin
immediate applicable advice: just pick every Stonehill you see in Paladin. I'm not sure if it's in other classes as well, but just pick every Stonehill you see.
That's actually true. So this stat right here, this is only in the number of decks, right? Just the ones that are actually drafted. We're not even counting what comes from a Stonehill. So Lich King is happening. Right. A ton more than even 9%. That's incredible. And
because they've clearly increased your chances to get legendaries. They offer they still offer them up against each other, but it's way more common. There have been posts of people with 7, 8 legendaries. So and because Paladin has 2 of the strongest legendaries with Tarim and Tyrion, they're definitely benefiting from that. And Tarim's just one of those cards that it's just way too good.
Way too good.
It's so hard to beat Tarim, right? So so that card shouldn't be flying around all over the place, at least in my opinion.
In my opinion, it's the strongest arena card, Tarim. People always ask me, what is the strongest legendary? I'm like, it's Tarim, and it's not even close.
Gaara, it's arguably the strongest card in Standard too, right? It's crazy strong.
Yeah. This is the card you can get blown out by the most.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't play around it all the time, you just lose when it comes down. The decks that play it are Murloc Paladin and Dude Paladin, more so in Dude Paladin, and they always have 5 or 6 minions on board. And even if you have a Void Lord on board, they just get insane trades into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Tarim is sick.
Yeah, I had a draft in Wild Arena where I had it wasn't Paladin was the best then, but I drafted Paladin with Tarim, and I wouldn't say the rest of the card quality is that insane, but I was like, I have Tarim, so I took all the tokens I could get, and it was I've never had a card carrier run so hard. It was just, here's my spread board, and did it, and you played a big, and you lost, and it was, and having that be all over the place, in this meta, it's not good.
Because of how versatile it is, it even affects. Just the threat of it even affects you. You know, like the way you possibly play. I mean, Arena might not be quite as impactful, but
Well, you do. You get paranoid. You see the dudes on the board. And you're like, they gotta die.
oh, right. You have to prioritize them like super high. That's true.
You missed
And
like 15 phase. Just
yeah,
'cause they're gonna
that's
go.
true.
You're like, I'm gonna get
true.
Tarim. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we were seeing Tarim probably at like enemy number 1, at least in terms of possible nerfs in the future, hopefully. But any other cards that you would see are big culprits of this exact thing? You know, not even necessarily on this list, but maybe in your minds right now, Shady?
Spike Rich Steed, you're gonna see a ton.
Another Paladin card, which is right here.
Yep. A bunch of Fireless Portals are also like okay with that if everyone has them, right? But if just, you know, like Mage is good, but you're not gonna like first pick it as it was in the Fireless Portal meta.
Yeah.
So then when you play against a Mage that has like 3 or 4 portals, that's like one of the most annoying things to play against, because to, you know, make a bad portal board, because like worst case scenario, they're just gonna throw it into your face. I'm like, hey, I get to play them anyway.
Yeah.
So that's another one of those cards that can be really oppressive if people have too many copies of it.
Well, Portal's going to go away soon, right? Like it's going to be retired in a month or so here. So that'll actually be one card that goes away. The Paladin cards are not going anywhere. So the Paladin seems to be the overlord of the arena, or at least will be even more so come April or whenever the reset actually happens. But
I think that's an interesting thing too to think about as the new expansion approaches. So we don't know how they're evaluating cards like when they make these buckets, whether it's, you know, win rate, or, you know, something internal we have no idea about because they don't tell us. But it's when the new cards come out, you know, they're gonna have to decide what's in the same pack together. So it'll be interesting because, or maybe they have enough internal data to determine that. I'm not sure, but it'll be interesting to see how good they are at matching up the cards from the new expansion against, you know, the cards that are already around. And so that's something I'm kind of looking forward to. Like, how good is it going to be? You know, we'll find out.
Yeah,
because like they won't have the stats yet, right? It's just
right.
Like,
yeah. So it's like, how do they do it? You know?
Unless they have like simulators that go on. I don't know. You know, like maybe they have some sort of testing thing that they can try to get some numbers in the arena. But you know, really excited to see, you know, just obviously the new cards and how they kind of play in. And we're going to talk about the Witchwood in just a second, but maybe some last things. I mean, so Wild Arena happened, you know, it's been about a week now, right? Maybe a week and a half. You know, we got a chance to kind of relive the old arena, and I think it's always great to talk to just all the full-time arena players and really see, because I mentioned it to Crip whenever we were doing a streamer shutdown not too long ago, and he kind of told me his views on how he felt. But how do you guys feel about standard versus wild now? Like, do you feel like it should be back as a wild arena again, you know, as more of the default arena, or are you actually feeling like standard was actually a good thing, or at least that change? Dreads.
Okay. So I really enjoyed Wild Arena, and I think it's a couple of reasons. One of the big reasons is just I remember playing with those cards, you know, so it brings back some memories, you know, like, oh, I remember this, you know. But it's as much fun as I had with it, I also enjoyed that kind of a more tempo-oriented style, and it was definitely how Wild Arena was for that event. So I enjoyed it for both of those reasons, and I also kind of on a broader scale, I do enjoy the arena events. When they first announced them, I was a bit skeptical because I was like, oh, it's going to kind of make I take arena fairly seriously, whatever that means. And now it's going to be, you know, a very short meta. How do you even figure out what's good or what's not? But I think they had the dual class event and the Wild Arena event so far, and I've had a lot of fun with both of them. So I'm now on team, you know, do more of these events. I think it's pretty fun. As far as whether it should be wild or standard, I think as for new players coming in, I think it really has to stay standard, because otherwise it's just going to be too many cards for someone new that wants to learn arena to figure out what's good, what's not. And yeah, there are draft helpers or whatever. But I think the greedy person in me is like, I want to play with all those cards. But I think for the game and for the mode, it it makes sense to probably keep it standard.
Okay, Shady, what about you?
I like standard a lot more. I enjoyed the wild event for sure, and I think I'm in the same position as Dreads, where in the beginning I was very skeptical. Like, don't turn arena into basically don't turn arena into tavern brawl. That's kind of what it felt like when they were announcing this. Like, new crazy rules every week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but as long as the events aren't too frequent, I think that the frequency they have right now is cool. Like whenever there's like maybe the interest in arena dies down a little bit, they go like, hey, it's the dual class event. That was a great success. I love that one. And wild was also fun. But I was happy with it turning standard again, just because cards and these. I also just like playing control more than Dread, so it makes sense. Like Wild Arena was a lot faster, was a lot more, okay, you have to draft your curve. Otherwise you just get blown out. So same opinion on the events are good for the game, but I just like standard a lot more, the pace of the game.
Okay. In terms of, I mean, I wouldn't say drafting strategy, but maybe it is. It falls into the kind of drafting strategy bucket. What are the most powerful ways of drafting right now? Like in the past, historically, there was obviously like a more aggressive meta where you just draft, with a super low curve, and we've definitely seen shifts here and there, and I think right now it might even be maybe more balanced than it's ever been. Right now, what would you say is the most powerful meta in terms of maybe the top classes, and maybe you can break it up even in classes. It might be pretty different. Shady, like what do you think is the way? Because it sounds like you play more control, so maybe you have a definitely different outlook than Dreads over here.
Well, yeah, it really depends. Like right now, I liked playing priest as well in the previous meta, but I don't think it's that good right now because priests, it felt like play on quality cards, but you couldn't take a priest to the late game. It was just not an option. You were just never going to outcard him. And now that's you've lost that protection as a priest. You no longer just like win whatever. Even though steal cards are pretty good, because obviously the card quality of other people is also pretty good. So thought skills and the art skills are better.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that good. So I think right now it's just like Dreads mentioned as well, like Paladins have the best legendaries. So that's just really powerful. So I think Paladins just really oppressive. And then Mage and Shaman. So I think like if you want to do well, you focus on those. And then right now it just feels like it's really about that card quality where I'm stressed about my early game. Like I'm not picking a bunch of 1s or 2s. I'm just trying to, start my curve on 3, have a couple, 4s, 5s, and then some swing mechanics, right? If you can get a consecration, if you can get a true silver. And then Mage is obviously just made up of swing mechanics. And especially with the frequency it's offered right now, you're also not too worried about your early game. Unless you get some burn offered, right? Where a lot of mages do, they get fireballs, pyros. You can pick some early game and then assume the mantle of aggressor, right? You can definitely do that as well. And then for Shaman, it feels like, playing that control style is really solid because, you can get those dooms. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't played a Shaman yet with the wipe card. So
the ultimate overload card ever made. Dreads, what's your take? Yeah, what's your take on strategy right now?
I think you have to be able to play the greed game right now. It's definitely a lot of your losses are they just have more stuff or better stuff than you. So yeah, I have a hunter run going right now. It's like 3-1, but it does seem like a pretty good hunter deck, but it seems like you have to I don't think you could do aggro very well right now because too many people have the AoEs, have the weapons to answer. So I think you do have to go for more of a control style. And Shaman seems pretty good at doing that. Priest, it just feels like you don't get enough of the good tools. Like what we talked about a little bit earlier, you have to either take this premium minion or give up one of your AoEs or something. And so at the end of the draft, you just don't have enough cards at the high power level to do well. But again, I mean, have to do a lot more testing. But and for me, a lot of it is figuring out how greedy I can be because I'll get a better feeling for how likely I am to get more of one type of card or another after I play more. But right now, I've just been like, okay, let's take the full greed and see if we get punished. And I have gotten punished a bit. Like I've died with a bunch of cards in hand, going, okay, maybe we were a little too greedy this time, but that's that's fun. It's enjoyable to figure out where the threshold is and how exactly you have to draft. So in 2 weeks from now, I'd have a better answer for that.
Yeah.
Sure. It's
Okay.
also the meta will just shift, right? Where I feel like there's still I'm getting a lot of matches where I'm like, damn, like it's 5-0 and that guy just made a really big mistake. Just
me too.
super blunder. So I think that always happens, right? At the start where something changes of Arena, everyone's like, hey, I'm gonna try Arena again. And then they go like, no, I remember why I don't play this.
Right.
But in those like week or week and a half or so, it's really hard to figure out how it's going to go, because I feel like the strategy changes a lot as well if the meta becomes less soft.
Do you think we need to exclude any more cards from Arena? I mean, one of the big topics was just like gameplay, right? Drafting's fine right now. Gameplay, we're seeing like too powerful cards, and it's kind of hurting at least the skill cap of the the gameplay aspect of it. So are we in a state where we need to like remove some more, or what's your thoughts on even fixing it? Should we just? I mean, we should probably wait until the reset happens and then see see where it kind of plays out from there. But I want to get your initial thoughts at least.
I think for me, like before this meta, like I was all for team get rid of Psychic Scream. Like Shady and I've talked about it a lot, but like I really was. I hate that card, and I feel like you can beat it, but you have to draft a certain style, and But anyways, I don't want to go over this Psychic Scream again and again. But when this meta hit, now I'm kind of like, I don't know how bad Scream is if there's so much other broken stuff just going all over the place. It's like if someone's gonna have Tarim, is Scream okay now? So I think as you probably want to shelve any talk of like getting rid of cards until we see the new expansion, see the power level of those cards, and kind of see what the meta is like. Because right now I think they're also kind of doing testing, right, and seeing okay, how did our drafting changes work? Do we need to tweak things? So not right now, but maybe in the future. Scream, I'll let you stay for now, Psychic Scream, but we'll see in like a month or so.
Yeah.
Okay,
maybe last two things to talk about. One being, with the change with the drafting, do you guys see the relative distance, or do you see like skill wise a change in the relativity of players based on the quality of decks now, right? Because I think that we could probably discuss whether you think the deck quality has gotten better, or at least the distance between the deck quality between a great player and maybe an average player has gotten wider or not, and does that actually affect the overall Arena skill difference, right? Like in just how that's going to play out. Shady, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's going to be almost an inevitable result, right? If you're going to make draft picks a lot closer, someone with more experience is going to. Because I had a couple good examples. I did a chat draft on Sunday, and I knew that everyone was going to want this card, but I'm like, no, I mean, they're all really good, but this one's like definitely what we need for our deck. And it's a lot of the time it's just picking the thing, like a 5-mana 4/6. Sometimes your deck just needs a 5-mana 4/6 because you need something to play.
Get your coins.
And a lot of
the
beginners and even like average players, they go for all the flashy things. Like, oh, my deck is so good, and then they don't have minions to play, and then they go like 5 wins. Like, what happened? I have like 5 defiles. I was like, yeah, but you couldn't play a minion against the mage, so you couldn't pressure them.
Right.
So I do think that that's definitely going to happen. Like the closer the quality difference is, the more you're going to have to say, okay, do I really need this curve pick, or can I go for the flashy cards? Right. Mm-hmm. Those kind of things.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to say right now, at least in each game, because there's just, because the power level is so high, it's hard to know if someone drafted well or if they just got offered a ton of the really good packs, Mm-hmm. Man, I had one guy, a rogue I played the other day, and he, I'm not sure if he made a turn where I didn't see him misplay, and it was close because he had Vile Spine, he had Assassinate. I remember he had Edwin, and he decided to cold blood his Wasp that was in stealth, and then after that he played the Edwin, and then he played another stealth minion, and it was, my mind almost exploded. I was like, what, you know? And you see that every once in a while, right? But yeah, I think it will definitely it takes more skill to draft now, and once people kind of figure out the best styles, I do think good players will, you know, will do slightly better. But that's kind of dependent on them.
Well, slightly better than
down the power
than
level a little
before,
bit.
or you mean just slightly better than? I mean, what is that?
Well, I think so. I think if they had this drafting system but didn't have so many high power cards all over the place, then I think like good players would do better than they do in like the last meta.
Okay.
Because it's just, you make better decisions,
Right.
and you know, in the draft, and then because basically right now it was pretty easy to draft as well, or almost as well as like the best arena player, let's say, right? Like the draft topers are good enough that it's pretty close, but now I'm not sure if that will be the case. But yeah, I think it's hard to say until they tweak it a little bit more.
Okay. All right, last question, in pertaining to arena. You know, now that we see like wild tournaments happening every so often, and obviously standards, just HCT and everything. You know, would you? I mean, I think the answer to would you guys want to see arena events is a definite yes. But what kind of events do you think could be made? You know, in terms of you kind of having the best arena players going against each other. We've seen leaderboards, you know, type of, or maybe there's a Moss throwing down, you know, some kind of bet, you know, challenge thing that we've seen, you know, arena players really go at it. But are there any ideas that you guys would like to see Blizzard throw out, you know, for a contest or any kind of event for arena players?
I mean, go ahead,
Dreads, go ahead.
So basically, I don't have the best answer for that. You know, one thing they could do is give a little more incentive to the leaderboard, because right now it's like, yeah, you make the leaderboard, great, and you know, it can help a stream or whatever, but that's about it, right? And so you know, that's one thing they could do, give a little more incentive for that. As far as events, you know, it wouldn't be hard to have arena events. As far as whether it would determine who the best player is, you know, you can draft 5 decks, and then, you know, make them with your own collection and then play against other players. Because there would be so much variance, it would be hard to say, oh yeah, makes this person the best arena player. But you know, it could be a fun event.
I mean, you can't really do that though, right? Unless they.
Well, you'd have to retire them, right? Like you just like draft, and I'd have to figure out how the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem, right? Like it's not an easy question to answer. But I do think if they really wanted to, they could. But yeah, you'd have to figure out if you do like a sealed format, or like they've had the Red Bull. Like there was the Red Bull.
Yeah, they had the
event.
Team Arena basically with Hafu. And,
right. Yeah, the team thing, and that was fun to watch.
Guys.
I mean, it's not perfect, but it was fun to watch. So you know, if they supported something like that, I think it would be fun. But yeah, I don't have the perfect answer for what the best format would be.
Mm-hmm. Shady, any ideas on your end?
Well, I mean, anything is good for me right now because it just means like, hey, you know, we recognize arena.
Right. Okay.
What I would like is, you know, in client support for this, right, where you can just draft a deck and play that against someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then you can organize tournaments where, if you want to reduce the variance, and I'm just spitballing here, right, you can have decks and then your opponent gets to like veto 2 of them, like your 2 most OP decks that you've drafted. So like, you know, get the variance out of there a bit. So you just get to draft 5 decks there, and then, you know, you play a tournament just like now, where your opponent would ban decks. You'd be like, okay, however many that would take to not make it too crazy, because it is still arena and you can get an insanely good deck. But especially in old arena, like right now it's a bit crazy in old arena. Fine to, you know, if you eliminate 2 of them and then have a best you know.
No, it'd definitely be cool, because you guys would have to evaluate these different decks too, you know, and how you evaluate them in more of a, you know, what you would consider a standard type of competitive format would be pretty interesting, because, you know, you guys won't have the same decks for sure. Like it won't even be close in some cases. Yeah. So that'd be, in client for sure. I think would be amazing. And I think that's the biggest challenge for arena is you just can't easily do that type of event. outside. So you're kind of stuck with just these contests. I like the contest. I think it's always awesome, like whenever there's like who can win 120 wins, or whatever the record is, for 10 runs or whatever. So I've definitely enjoyed those in the past, and even those being just a bit more regular, I think would be good. It's always been like a Moz like spearheading these things.
Yeah, I mean, and those events
nice.
bring more exposure to Arena.
Yeah, totally.
So it is a good thing, but it'd be nice if Blizzard took the initiative on that a little bit sometimes,
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, Gar's been quiet, so like we gotta start talking about the expansion here in a second. Otherwise, there's not too much standard stuff to talk about right now. But
I think we hit most of the main things for Arena.
I think so. Unless you guys have any last thoughts, you guys anything you want to say before we move on past Arena?
I'm good.
A lot of hope, a lot of room for improvement.
Awesome.
I think what they showed now is like we can make a really, really cool system. I hope they now like keep tinkering on it and not just be like.
Well, I mean, the last year, guys, I mean, they've done a lot, whether it was a miss, like with the synergy picks and things like that, or some hits, like when we've seen with just Wild Arena, maybe these changes now. Clearly, they're changing Arena now, and I think that's great. That's definitely an awesome sign for.
And the last sentence of the blue post of the Arena changes was that they're really looking forward to the feedback of the Arena community.
yeah.
To further improve the system.
Yeah,
we like that.
We've heard that before. It doesn't always work out, but it's good. No, it's good. I mean, I appreciate them, reaching and also, whether it's the best way or not to do it. Like it was nice to give some feedback, on the Grinning Goats podcast, Lightforge podcast. To so the fact that they're asking is good. So yeah, I'm also pretty hopeful. Let's make Arena better.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's comment, I think, in Adwalk's post is like #1 on that one. So leave feedback there, guys. They clearly
he's responding.
Yeah, he's at least responding. Okay, well, we're going to talk about the Witchwood here, but before we do, I just want to give a shout out to just all our patrons that support the show. You guys are the #1 way of support, like that keep us doing the show. So if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/valuetown, throw a pleasure away. Would much appreciate it, but we want to spend some time and give a shout out to some of our existing patrons, our legendary producer Mike T, and then some others: Bob K, Gary D, Bryce L, Chris Chilmaw, Blake T, Eric L, Jackpot 777, Feldy Locks, Nick B, Mike S, Richard G, Chris C, and that's not me, and Mike H. Thank you so much, guys. Really, really, we can't do the show without you guys. So, it's hard for me to express how much appreciation we have for you guys, but it really does mean a lot. And if you guys are interested in some of the things that we do with our patrons, we do Deck of the Weeks every Monday night. So we always announce like a Deck of the Week that we all play together, and then have the patrons kind of come on and do a real quick, like 30-minute type of show on Monday where we just talk about our win rates and just maybe some cool plays for the decks. So check that out, and hopefully you guys will be a patron of our show. Okay, new expansion, super hype. Been waiting for it. Been seeing all these Twitter things happening, where Ben and Kosak are getting lost in the woods, or at least what Yongwu has to go and find them, and there's cameras and all these things, right? And then it culminated with this sick video that happened that I think is probably by far their best video. Oh, I better turn this volume down. Wow, it's loud. I think it's the best announcement video they've had to date. And if you guys missed it, it was very Blair Witch Project style here. And first off, what do you guys think of it? Gar, you saw the video, right? What'd you think of it?
Yes, of course. I watched it 1 minute after release, and I find it cool how you can show cards, Hearthstone cards in a cool way.
Oh yeah, actual physical cards. Yeah.
Cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, cardboard cutouts.
That seems so difficult if you sit down and brainstorm how to demonstrate just some cards in a very cool way.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the projector thing. It's CGI, CGI.
Yeah.
$2 million production. Pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah. Besides the part that they left out the best card of the whole video. The card that everyone is looking for, the Shaman Hero card.
Oh, I loved how they did that. Just the kind of teaser for it. Oh, I liked how they teased it, man, because they answered a lot of questions after everybody tweeted about it, but we didn't know if there was going to be more. It was a hero card, and we didn't know if there was going to be more, and it was a cool way to tease some things. But yeah, what did you guys think of the video? Was it pretty Dreads, Shady?
I liked it. I have to admit, I actually have never watched the Blair Witch Project. Like I know of it, and I know the style and all of that. But that's another thing that we were talking about TV shows earlier. Another thing I got to do. But I really liked it. I thought it was well done and entertaining. I mean, Ben Brode, he's just entertaining to watch, especially when he laughs. So I enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to hearing about more cards. I mean, a lot of the cards from arena perspective. Oh, we'll get to the cards. But,
we'll get to the cards in a second. It's just
I thought it was entertaining, and good job.
Yeah,
well done.
Shady. Yeah,
it's really cool. Like, because the coolest thing is that they don't have to do this at all. So it's really fun to see them, put in a little bit of extra effort. It's like with Ben Brode raps and stuff. It's just fun that they take the time and put in the effort to make these things.
I mean, this one was by far the highest quality, though. Like we kind of saw them start with, I would say, Ungoro. When they did they hired that actor, and he was, I don't know what he was doing. He was like an adventure, or he was like trying to just record or exploring whatever areas. And then Frozen Throne, they had just more of a kind of funny video, right, with Ben and Kozak. Was it Kozak? No, it wasn't Kozak. Who was it? It wasn't Thompson, right? One of the other guys that was turning into a DK. But this one was just like, I mean, the production level of it was so cool. Like there was a film over it to kind of make it look like a home video, and like you said with the CGI Gaara and just the overall just design of it was very Blair Witch, and it they did a good job of even just like scripting it. So this is like what's just a sign of what's to come. I mean, I'm really excited to even see what the next expansions video is going to look like. But anyways, this expansion, the Witchwood, I guess is has obviously a lot. The theme has to do with, I'm guessing, witches like Hagatha, and some type of wood. Is the Witchwood even in World of Warcraft, or this is something that's completely made up? I don't think it is something that's from the lore.
Remember it,
right?
But
Gaara, do you know? Like, is this a World of Warcraft thing or no?
That was the first expansion after I quit the game.
Oh, was it? Okay, I didn't realize that.
Maybe is something. I mean, it has something to do with organs. Maybe there was like a Witchwood somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so pretty cool. There's obviously a PvE aspect to it, which they called Monster Hunt, and actually let me just bring up the announcement here. Where is it? So Monster Hunt has it basically sounds like dungeon runs. Like it's got unique heroes though, so it's there's another element to it, at least some variation to it. But there's going to be 8 different types of I forget what they called it, scenarios, I think they said, that you have to obviously brave through or complete. So I'm not sure if it's going to be exactly like Dungeon Run, where it's just like once you finish 8 you get or you get a completion or you get a prize or something at the end. But it does sound like you're going to be getting abilities throughout the thing. You get to pick your unique heroes right from the start between these Tracker and Cannoneers and Houndmaster and Time Tinker. So that's going to be fun. Dungeon Runs were a huge hit. I don't know did you guys play Dungeon Runs at all?
A little bit. I only did 1 or 2. I had a lot of fun with the different game of Slay the Spire. And I think this might be a similar style to Slay the Spire.
Okay. Yeah.
If you've heard of that game. Mm-hmm. So if it's like that, I'll definitely give it a go.
Yeah. Shady, did you get a chance to do any dungeon runs or any of the PvEs?
Last one? That's the same thing. Like I did like 2. It was really fun. It's just like at the same time, like the patch comes out, you also want to just try to get ahead in arena. So you want to put in your time and practice. Because your stream will be like, hey man, what are the best classes? How do we draft? It's like, if I'm not playing a bunch of dungeon runs, obviously I'm not getting those.
So try hard, man.
Yeah.
That's so try.
Really cool.
Yeah,
no,
it is.
Cool. No, it's so this should be a lot of fun too. And let's see, what else was there in terms of announcements kind of around it. Oh, there's you're gonna get the pre-order, right? You get 50 packs, just kind of like the normal one, but you get 20 bonus packs this time. Or you could reward it and say it's just a 70 pack pre-order for the price of what the normal packs are. But that's cool. We're actually getting more for what we pay for normally for a pre-order. And I think once the expansion's out, you get 3 packs and a class legendary when you log in. So everybody's going to be getting a free legendary. I got super unlucky last time, dude. I got like the shaman weapon. Oh man, I got totally boned. I don't know what you guys got.
I think I got the twig. I can't remember.
Okay,
I wasn't too excited about whatever I got, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Also, apparently the Amazon store is bugged that you get the pre-order package twice. So if you're a whale and you plan on spending quite a bit of money anyway, so it's the most efficient to buy that
We're
on Amazon
gonna get banned for
twice.
sharing exploits here, dude. Like, I guess it's Amazon, so we don't.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
We get
but
banned
I-
on Twitch for advertising.
I mean, you
Amazon.
buy it. It's yeah,
Yeah.
buy it efficiently twice. I don't know.
That's true. They're still gonna make money, I guess, from it. But of course, with the announcement, there's obviously cards that are announced, and they announced like 7 cards here, which we're gonna take a look at. And it's kind of good to have you guys on here, just to talk about the arena impacts on the cards. But why don't we start with what's a good one to start with? I'm just kind of going to go to an order here that I have them listed here. So I have got.
That's a good order.
Okay, here we go. We've got pump. Oh, no, actually. Okay, we're going on the order of the notes. Sorry. Okay,
No,
notes.
that's a
Here we
great
go.
one, because
Gen
that's
Grey
the
Mane.
very
Here we
first
go.
card.
Here we go. So Gen Grey Mane is a common card that, or neutral card that has that's a legendary. Sorry, it's a 6 mana 6/5 start of the game, which is a bold keywords. If your deck has only even cost minions, your starting hero power costs 1. And there's the counterpart to that, which is, I believe it's Baku, right? Let me bring up Baku. Yeah, so Baku is another legendary that is a beast. It's a 9 mana Baku the Moon Eater, and it's the start of the game. If your deck has only odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power. All right, so upgrade your hero power, by the way, means like Justicar upgrade your hero power. That was confirmed by the team too. So imagine what those are, but you get it right from the start of the game. So it's a lot different, right? If you have this card in your deck itself. So this is clearly a deck building thing. We've seen this a little bit, obviously with Keliseth and the Princes, but this is another level. This is maybe more like Hemet type of style, But what do you guys think? Like, is it possible? Let's just say like Arena. We'll start with Arena. Is it possible to like be able to take this chance right from the get-go? Let's say you get this card right off the bat, and you're like,
no, but I'll probably try at some point. I mean, I play a lot of arenas, so I'm sure there's some time where I'll be offering. I'm like, you know what? Let's see how bad it's going to be. But I think in practice, it's going to be pretty impossible to make. It's just too much of a restriction. But yeah, we'll try.
I mean, it was already pretty hard to make Keliseth work, but that's just no 2s, right? But that's still pretty hard, because sometimes the game just goes like, well, here's 2-drop, 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 have fun picking, and you're like, no, it's all over.
That's right.
The same thing will happen here, where even if you're committed, right? Sometimes the game will just be odd, and you're like, well, I guess my guy's not going to be active.
That might be the arena contest in itself. Who could actually win 12 wins with a legit Baku or Gen deck, where you have that distribution. Gaara, any thoughts? Any like initial thinking of some type of standard deck that we could exploit this with?
Yes, absolutely. The first thing that comes to my mind is I love how wrong people are. The first reaction from the general public is all these cards are trash. And I think the complete yes. Like
you're right about it, but I don't think the cat cards are trash.
It's like they're like, oh, anti-hype. All these cards are so bad and whatnot. Like they're all unplayable. Yeah. This is like the general opinion, I would say. But these cards are actually pretty great. You can't say how good they will be because they're very similar to Reno. You couldn't predict how good Reno will be before you actually build a deck with 31 offs. It's like, and we haven't barely seen any cards of the new expansion, right? So if you can make them work, they're insane. And the second thing that comes to mind, the stats of these cards are not complete garbage. They're like decent. They're not like super understated. For example, if you play a 9 mana 7/8, that's like a big dude, right? And okay, the first actual decks that come to mind that would be insane if they work is, for example, playing the Greymane in Dude Paladin. If you have like 2 dudes, is it this one? No, it's the other one. It's the Baku. Baku can be like the new patches in like aggro decks or token-based decks. For example, in Dude Paladin, it's basically, for the people that don't know, it's the Justica hero power, like the upgraded version. So you get 2 dudes. For Dude Paladin to get 2 dudes is absolutely insane.
That is pretty crazy.
People don't realize how insane that is. like if you can make it work. So it's basically like a patches. You always mulligan away. You don't want to have it. You don't want to draw it. If you happen to draw it in super late game, you have a 7-8 or like whatever. You just play it. But it's crazy powerful if you make it work. And the second thing that comes to mind with the Grey Man is in Warlock. Actually, you can, I think, play Twilight Drake and Mountain Giant in curve because you start live tapping on turn 1. It's and then like even cards, right? Mountain Giant and Twilight Drake. So obviously, like without seeing the deck, because we will get a lot of new cards, we have to replace a lot of the uneven cards.
Uneven cards.
I'm saying if you can make these cards work, they're really powerful.
I mean, what if we looked at Control Lock with the odd cards? So we're talking Void Lords and even Cube Lock, right? It has the Doom Guard, and the cube itself is 5 too, right? So you could still have Dark Pack and
I guess Gul'dan will probably still be the most important card.
You'd be missing Gul'dan. That's a good point.
And like with Greymane, you can play Twilight Drake, Mountain Giants, and Gul'dan. So it's like a lot of the key cards that you can play for sure.
Yeah. Can you imagine but the hero power for Warlock's insane too. Both of them are. I think with Warlock could be just like crazy if there's a deck that you can figure out that could work. I'm excited about it.
I mean,
I know there's going to be
honestly what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
Like in theory, before you see all the new cards of the expansion, like it was very similar to the Challenger, Mysterious Challenger. Like if you get it to work, it will be insane. And I think it was the same with Reno. Like you couldn't know beforehand if a deck like this would exist, but if you can make it work, it will be insane. So this is very similar to these cards, I think, because it's so strong to have it like upgraded from the start, right? You don't have to play the card. It's a huge difference compared to the Justica, where you have to draw and then play. And Justica was extremely understudied, and you still play Justica in some decks.
Yeah. Could you guys see like what hero power do you guys see, like if it had Justica right from the start in Arena, you think would just be broken level? Like Paladin, right? I think Paladin with 2 dudes is crazy, right? Like it's like awesome.
Mage would probably be pretty good too.
Mage, okay.
But yeah, I play with that card so a few times. I'm trying to remember what each of them are.
Right.
Shaman, you get to pick your hero, you pick your totem. That could. I have to remember how all of them work, but I think it's probably kind of a moot point because it's going to be so hard to make work.
Can we bring back Armor Warrior again? Just like 70 Armor Warriors back in the old days. I wonder if we can get that. But we would be missing shield blocks and things like that, though. So that might be tough.
Maybe. But it's so crazy that you have it from the start, It gives you a lot of survivability. Like you have tank up from turn 2.
You tank up for turn 2. Throw in like a Beardo or something where you can just like you can do it like multiple times, and oh my god,
it rotates.
Beardo rotates, right? Yeah. So there's potential. There's a lot of different potential. So of course we don't know for sure until we see it. There's got to be something. There's got to be one deck that comes from this that's going to be
trying out these cards is the most fun though. It's very similar to Reno because people will try to make these cards work, and that's like. What is missing in Standard, that Blizzard is pre-building a lot of the new archetypes, and this is what people really hate. So cards like these is what we really want in Standard.
Mm-hmm. It's card building exercise too, man. If net decking just wasn't a thing, man, this would be like a lot cooler. All right, so next 2 cards we got Militias. The theme is Militia here, and the theme actually brings in a couple new keywords too. So the first one we have here is a neutral card. It's a rare card, 3 mana, 2/4 Phantom Militia. So I guess the ghost version. And the new keyword is Echo, and then it also has Taunt. So what Echo means, guys, is that you can actually play this card as many times as you want, as long as you have mana on that turn. So once you play it, you have the ability to play it multiple times. And what that means is, like, for every 3 mana that you use, it will play a 2/4 Taunt. Kind of like we saw with Unstable Evolution, like to date. It's basically very, very similar to that. So yeah, let's talk about this card. In terms of Arena, I think this card might be one of the few cards that potentially is viable in Arena. Does this look like a good card to you, Shady?
I mean, it helps to compare cards, right? To put it in perspective.
Mhm.
So 3-mana 2/4 is Squirming Tentacle, and that card is playable. Like that's not an insane card by any means, but with Unstable Evolution, as you say, just being able to replay a card, Unstable Evolution is like insanely good in Arena. Just because it's so flexible. Sometimes when you have a creeper, right? You're like, okay, I get to use it for 3 mana and I get my 8-drop and evolve something else.
Mhm.
With this, hey, I get to play it on curve, or hey, turn 9 I top deck this thing, and suddenly it's like
Wide,
right?
right?
2/4s with taunt.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it's, definitely going to be decent.
It makes it a lot less bad to top deck, right? So yeah, I mean it's stats 2/4s. It also depends on how many 4/3s are going to be in the new expansion, because you have to drop a 2/4 on turn 3 in the new expansion, and it turns out to be tempo based. And we're kind of just guessing here, but
Right.
it seems like it's not going to be bad, right? Like I think, and depending on what other Echo cards there are, I think though I rate them pretty highly in Arena overall, just because they're, like Shady said, pretty flexible.
I'm a little worried about what the future Echo cards are going to be, because we've seen Evolution, now we've seen a minion. We're not going to see like a burn card, are we? Like, please.
Yeah, it could get pretty bonkers. I mean, this one seems, I would say this one's fair, at least from a Arena perspective. Like, you're not going to be like, oh no, he played Phantom Militia and got 3 2/4s on turn 9. How can I ever come back? But it'll be good, I think.
Okay, yeah. Gaara, what do you think, man? Standard.
The most important thing about this card is if the mana reduction on it translates into the copies, because I've seen people talking about it. Nobody can know yet. I think Blizzard has responded to the question. The stuff you could do is you can farsight into this guy and then basically play a full board.
Oh yeah, that's like free. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, or you play Emperor in Wild, just reduce it, and whenever you need it, you just play a full board of taunts, like whenever you need it. It's crazy, like if you reduce the mana cost of it. So that's important to know.
There's no prereq like Spreading Plague either. You can just fill a board.
You
That's
just
crazy.
you can do whatever you want and then just play a full board of taunts. It's like unleash the 2/4 taunts. It's for 0 mana, whatever. It's crazy powerful. Yeah, it's like Echo seems like an exact copy, right? But like, for example, if this one it gets buffed by like Don Hanjo, does the copy also get the stats? These stuff.
I would think it does, like, because it's an.
But then
Echo,
the mana
right?
cost would also be the same, right?
Right. I mean, I would think, at least my impression would be, whatever the card itself is, it should be echoed that way, right? So if it is mana reduced like that, then it would do the same thing. It would be free. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you could fill the board.
Yeah, because I know it's different if you have like Unstable Evolution and you discover it off of Glyph. Then the first one's 0, but then after that it's still costs 1.
Because it recreates itself.
Yeah, it comes back.
Okay.
That's
That's the case.
But I don't know if it'll be the same way for this mechanic, but something.
But with Serenite Chain Gang, you get the stats from like Kelsa, for instance.
Then it won't work, but of course, yeah.
Well, Serenite Chain Gang is a little different, right? Because the text is
an exact copy.
Yeah, an exact copy of this. It really just depends on what the mechanic is for it. It says it's a new copy only if Summoning Pearl works. Okay.
I mean, Ben, I think in the video, Ben Broad said an exact copy. I think it said it like that in the video. Maybe he meant it like that, an exact copy of the card.
Yeah, it really just depends.
That is a game changer. You can do so many crazy things with it then. If it's not just like
I hope it's not. I hope it's not like you can farsight. I mean, like I would say Shaman needs some cards, but I don't know if it needs like a broken card like that, or at least a broken combo like that. So hopefully it's not quite that abusive, because I do like what the most common type of scenario is with it, which is like it's supposed to be a 2/4 taunt, and it played multiple times. I do like how that's designed. But the next militia card we have here is a warrior card. It's a 4 mana 2/5 rare card, Militia Commander, and it's a new keyword rush. Battlecry gain +3 attack this turn. So she's really a 5/5, when she's played. And then what rush is, guys, is it's basically charged, but you can't hit face. So and it's obviously made to like kind of fight board. This is another kind of arena feeling. I mean, this card should be pretty decent in arena too, right? Because it's a 5/5 4-mana card. Unless I'm wrong, Shady. Is that right?
From obviously you'll need to see what the meta looks like, but from how we know arena right now, this looks really, really good. Right?
It's like Hog Rider
essentially-
almost, right?
Yeah, it's like Spiked Hog, but like because you see it going into Ascension, right? When you imagine it, it's like, oh, bonk, Ascension off the board. You keep it to 2. It's really good. Because at the very worst, right? It's like, well, not at the very worst, because Stormwind Knight can go face, but you'll pick a Stormwind Knight. It's not a card where you go like, oh, this card is so bad, I can never pick it. So in the vast majority of cases, this thing will actually get to hit something, and then being able to play a 4-mana 5/5 charge, like for arena purposes, most of the time, that early in the game, you're not going face anyway. So
it's a 2-for-1, right? Like almost a guaranteed 2-for-1. Yeah. Dreads?
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be really strong. I mean, again, it depends, but like the Hog Rider is a premium card in arena, and so this is you don't have to have a taunt to make it work, but you get to play it 1 turn earlier, and so I think it's going to be really strong, and it'll be interesting to see the other cards that they make around this. Like if we'll get an even cheaper cost one, it could be pretty nuts. But yeah, the rush mechanics seems like it'd be really good in arena.
Yeah. The last 2 cards that we have here are let's see, Azalina, Soul Thief, and Pumpkin Peasant, which is where's that Azalina? There it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Azalina is a neutral card, and it's a 7-mana 3/3 legendary. Battlecry: replace your hand with a copy of your opponent's hand. So yeah, another fun type of King Toggle Waggle kind of thing. But this one seems if it is playable, these type of things, this one seems maybe it's a tiny bit more playable. But what do you guys think of this? I mean, arena, I'd be shocked if somebody would ever play.
Yeah, it's unpickable, I think.
Yeah,
pretty much,
yeah.
unless you really want to meme.
But standard, can we figure out some type of way to play and kill your opponent, kind of like we saw the king and it being more like a mill situation, right? Some people finally figured out a way to actually win that way. How about this one, Gaara? Can you see any inventive way to do this?
The Azalina looks to me like a neutral Divine Favor. Like you would play this in super hyper aggressive decks, and then you just take the opponent's deck.
Oh yeah, that's true. Wow.
And we see Divine Favor being played a lot in the last 4 years. It's like a completely busted card if it works. Like, you would play it in curve, right? You just dump your hand, and then your opponent has like a full hand, and you just take his hand and then play his hand. Seems like super broken to me. It's not like that it's so much better than Divine Favor because you draw good late game cards. So you curve out into late game instead of drawing your bad cards. With Divine Favor, you just draw like a bunch of 1-drops, which are not that impactful in late game. Let's say you play against the Handlock or like Control Lock, whatever. Then you take his Nuzov, his Void Lords or something in late game after like pressuring him early. Seems insanely broken. And it's a neutral card, so you can play it in Hunter, whatever, Warlock, Zoo. Seems pretty powerful to me.
I guess the question is, like, can you make up for the fact that you play a 7-mana 3/3?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's like Divine
There's enough
Favor.
of a swing, right?
It's
the
super
same
bad
thing I wanted to
versus
say.
Yeah.
Decks, like, what else are you gonna do, right? Most of the time, like you're floating a bunch of mana anyway, so I don't want to write it off for arena that fast. Like you gotta think, right? Like, what if we're in a meta where Priest is really good? Keep playing against this thing, right? Where they're sitting on MC and an Amber, and suddenly you're like, yoink, now I have an MC and an Amber.
Yeah, you top deck this,
Oh
and it's
my
like,
God,
no, this is
that'd
a
be
totally
hilarious.
different game.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds broken.
Well,
actually.
as
Plus,
a
you
lead
get
each
all the
other.
information, right?
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
to play around. So
And then they know what to play around, so it becomes
So
yeah,
sleep-
of course.
Yeah, this sounds like a sleeper card for sure. Maybe not even. It won't even be a sleeper.
in aggressive decks for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
In
7 mana.
anything that's remotely controlled.
Yeah, I mean, you'd still have to wait a turn before you get all that card value. I mean, kind of like Divine Favor, but Divine Favor, at least there's more flexibility with how cheap it is. This one, you'd have to wait for 7, and then you'd still have to basically wait until turn 8 to to get a chance to really do something. So your opponent would potentially get tempo back there. But that's exciting, man. I'm curious. This is definitely not just a meme card, which is pretty exciting to at least the prospects of it. All right, last one. Pumpkin Peasant is a 3 mana 2/4 lifesteal. Each turn this is in your hand. Swap its attack and health. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like for me, this is like the least exciting card out of all the ones that they announced.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool because, like sometimes having a 4/2, like as for Arena, let's say, you sometimes you'd want a 4/2 late in the game, right? Over a 2/4. But you don't get a pick, so it's like if you want it on this turn and it's a 2/4 and you're like, well, I guess I'm stuck with it, right? So yeah, I mean, there's the priest card. It's a 3/3 with lifesteal, and it's okay. So I mean, it's an okay card for Arena, but it's not. Yeah, it doesn't really blow you away either, right? You look at it, you're like, oh, okay, cool.
It's like, we've seen these cards where you flop, but then they threw lifesteal on it. So it's like, does lifesteal make a big difference in some ways? Gaara, anything you see here that might be?
No, the funniest part about this card is that they had the craziest special effects when announcing this card.
It's like, this is what
it's a completely different card.
It's amazing. It's lifesteal, and
it's like, but wait, this card's not good.
But look at this crazy effects.
Yeah, totally. Like, okay, well, I mean, those are the cards that that were actually shown or announced. But we also saw Hagatha, and people are wondering, what are you talking about with Hagatha? And Hagatha is how they ended the video here. So if you actually look at this is all we see of her. So what we can tell from that is it's an 8 mana, looks like a hero portrait, like a hero card, kind of like the Death Knights, and it's a shaman card. So Ben did confirm that this is the only new hero card. So finally have the concept that they're willing to come out with new hero cards that doesn't need to be evenly distributed amongst all the classes like we saw with the Frozen Throne. So they felt that I guess Thrall wasn't good enough, so they needed another hero here. So I'm really curious to see what Hagatha is. Like, what do you think? What do you think she's gonna do? She's got to be something magical, right? Given that she's like a witch of some sort. But any guesses at what you think she does?
All right, you can look. You have the mana cost as the only information, and that it's a shaman card. And every 8+ mana, the hero card is super powerful. Maybe not like the Garrosh one, as powerful as the other ones, but it is definitely crazy. It has to be crazy. Might be like win condition kind of crazy. So I'm really looking forward to playing a lot of shaman.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you would think it would be something with a transform kind of theme, right? Based on shaman, like with the evolve, devolve, maybe like a.
It could be free.
It has to be.
You never know.
Discover it or something, like evolve and then pick one of 3 to see which one you want or something.
Or something that spawns on the board. Like you spawn like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it has to be super powerful.
Yeah, who knows? But
I don't think it will be just another like iteration on what Thralls is. I think it's going to be completely different, whatever it is.
Yeah, maybe spawns like water elementals or something. Some baby
so original.
Like
that's so original. Yeah, so original. Yeah, so excited about that. Yeah, I hope it is some kind of win condition. I mean, I hope it's not like an immediate win condition, but I hope it is something that maybe plays out. Maybe it's value based. Something like.
You made it to turn 8. The game is now over. You won.
It's like 4 horsemen. You're dead. No. But exciting. Anyways, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be good to see if I'll be curious to see if they add maybe a quest too, and maybe a card that's some kind of theme that was from some of the previous ones too. But excited to see it, and I wonder if they will just have a class-wide card like we had weapons last time, heroic weapons, right? And we had heroic DKs and quests. I wonder if there's going to be something like that this time around. But one thing that's changed for sure is that. First time in 2 years, guys, that we have an expansion title that's not 6 syllables. Didn't know. I don't know if you guys realized that or not. But yeah.
I would have no idea. But
Somebody
the
posted.
more you
I
know,
would
the
never
more you
have
know.
known that either until somebody posted that. Like I was like, oh my god, that's so true. And
Times are changing.
Exactly. Totally crazy. All right. Well, the new cards are going to be slowly revealed. I think all the different community channels and whatnot, starting on the 26th, I believe. So if all goes accordingly, historically speaking, then we revealed cards for like a month last time, didn't we? It was like 4 straight weeks of reveals, right? Like in Kobolds and Catacombs, I believe. Was it 4 weeks? It's going to be at least 2 weeks. So at least mid-April and possibly late April is probably what we're looking at. So it doesn't match last year, which was the first week of April. So it'll be different from that standpoint. Anyways, exciting times. This is always the most the greatest times, obviously in the Hearthstone space is when the new expansions come out. So looking forward to that. All right, well, we don't have too much time. We've definitely spent a lot of time on those two things. So why don't we just kind of hop over to Q&A? And Thunderbolt has a question, which he kind of was talking about, just with the retirement or the reset happening soon. Which cards from Old Gods, Karazhan, and Mean Streets will you miss the most? And then which ones will you not miss the most? And this will be really interesting, at least from an arena standpoint too. Like, which cards are you going to miss the most? Yeah, when they take it away.
God, I'm terrible at remembering like what card comes from which of these. It just has like no relevance in arena.
Oh man.
But
okay.
I think so. Firelands, that's one of these, right?
Yeah, Fireland Portal's gone. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm okay with that going. It kind of a fun card, but it's very powerful, and I've played against it and with it enough. It's okay for that one to go. Potion of Madness is gone too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that one is another really good one to see go. Even though I like playing Priest, it's just that card for Arena was just too like it changed the way you had to play against the class too much, and I'm okay with that one going. What one? Let me think of one I'm gonna really miss. What about the 5/3 Discover?
Oh yeah,
can't remember the Lotus Agents.
Yeah,
is that gone?
Yeah, the try one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll miss. I like that card. I think that card it was understated, but it wasn't unplayable as far as like it still had an effect on the board 5 attack. But Discover I kind of enjoy Discover, so I'll miss that one going.
Yeah, great. Shady, how about you?
Same like Lotus Agents, Cabal Courier, all those Discover cards are really fun. I think just a solid minion, the Rubian Prophet. I think that one's going. That one was fun to play with.
Okay, yeah, the freebie. Right.
Just like because I like Shaman, right? And then obviously that was a really cool combo with evolutions.
Yeah. Okay.
If you got like Prophet on 3, Master Evolution on 4, it was just like suddenly you have a 3/7 drop. Right?
Yeah,
so that was really fun.
It's a very good arena card, the Nerubian Prophet.
I think Bog Creeper's gonna go. So that's just something where
6/8 Bog Creeper. Oh.
It's gonna be in your that's currently where you're like, okay, so how do I not have lethal here? Okay, he plays Bog. Okay, I'm gonna do this. So like now that's you're no longer gonna play around like 8 health taunt per se, depending on what they come out with. So for me it's more like just these like bread and butter cards where you're used to seeing them, and now just going to take a while for your brain to adapt and to no longer play around those things.
Boy, those cards are a lot different than standard. What I think Gaara's about to say
animal,
here. Yeah, exactly. Gaara, what are the cards that you're going to miss and not miss whenever it resets?
Yeah, the cards that mostly come to my mind is the cards that I won't miss, guaranteed. It's like, I like the spreadsheet that someone did about all the important cards are rotating out, and they left out Jade Idol. Jade Idol was like the most frustrating card in the past 2 years, I would say. It changed standard so much, and it killed. I'm still standing by that statement. It's killed like 90% of control decks that could have existed if Jade Idol would have been a bit different. It's crazy, that one card. And like they even printed the Skulking Guys just for Jade Idol, which is stupid for Wild. I think a lot of cards, the way how they make cards has to change also for Wild, in my opinion. Cards that I would miss are like, Ice Block, which is not of the free part of the free sets.
Yeah, that's the Hall of Fame.
And I liked actually Jade Claws. Like, I didn't like Jade Druid, but I kind of enjoyed Jade Shaman a lot. It felt more balanced because you can, out-resource Shaman, and Shaman is overall just so weak.
Yeah.
That Jade Shaman was fun, making it work. So that being gone is a bit sad. Which is like also fun.
Yeah.
Beardo maybe, because that archetype.
What?
Because it
Really?
was Beardo
Okay.
OTK Paladin. Yeah, because it's not broken.
Yeah.
Because you can't OTK guaranteed. You need to make a play happen that you get additional coins. As you can't OTK. It's very difficult. I really like that. It's compared to the other combo decks. Combo decks in general are like very cool. And if they're not busted, And OTK Paladin is definitely not OP.
Right.
Definitely not.
I'm gonna miss Barnes, guys. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just totally kidding. No, I'm gonna definitely miss. I'm gonna miss N'Zoth for sure. Like, I think N'Zoth's always been a really cool card to have. Dirty Rat, even though I haven't really been playing Dirty Rat that much, I do like the fact that it's always been there for us, as a deck builder. So I think the fact that that's going away will kind of.
It's an exciting card too, for better or worse.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
It's like, is he gonna hit the Raza? Yeah, no.
That's right. I feel like that card or that kind of card should just be permanent.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Historian, I think I'll miss that card just because it's just how much value and just how much Dragon Priest I've played over time. Just that's more of a personal thing.
I think it's very important that N'Zoth and Isharaj leave the game. I think it will really change how Standard will feel, because those are like the main win conditions for the past 2 years, like no matter which expansion we had.
Well, Yasharaj, I mean, Yasharaj was more of a meme until like recently with Spellhunter.
He was like big druid.
I mean, big druids too, but it wasn't like crazy strong, like defining meta type of thing. And then Medivh's Valet too. I think Medivh's Valet has just been really, really good for Mage and establishing that type of aggressive early play for Mage, and at least in Standard. So Priest of the Feast being gone. Priest of the Feast hasn't been played that much lately, but it's historically been a nice card to have for Priest, because there was a time where Priest was not the best healer, and it was just like, what is going on, dude? Like, that is not right, in terms of how the game's designed. And it wasn't until we got Priest of the Feast that it seemed to balance out with Paladin. And then, I think we're going to go back to a time where it's just like, okay, healing for Priest is challenging, you know what I mean? And I guess we have greater healing now, so maybe that makes up for it. But yeah, so this is a kind of cool graphic. This graphic I think was made by Stan, so shout out to Stan Sifka for this kind of summary here. Pretty nice. But I think that's all we got for today, guys. Topic wise, if you guys have any questions like in the future, go ahead and email those to valuetime@ChanManV.tv, and we'll definitely try to read those out. And that goes for any Mechatorp Workshop stuff too, any custom cards. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up, guys. This has been a great episode. Dreads, Shady, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a lot of fun. Hope you guys had a good time too.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, thanks for having me. And
it
was a lot to talk about. We did a good job, I think.
Yeah, we try to keep it concise, don't want to sit here for 3 hours.
We could have talked for 4 hours about
definitely.
All, so it was good.
Yeah, awesome. You want to do some shout outs, Dreads? Start us off.
Yeah, so I stream at twitch.tv/dreads, and my Twitter is @dreadsgaming. And no YouTube yet, but maybe soon. So
okay, awesome. Shady, how about you?
Yep, same. I stream on Twitch. Just twitch.tv/ShadyBunny. Twitter is F2K_ShadyBunny. And then YouTube is ShadyBunny Live, which is ironic because it's not live, but ShadyBunny was fake.
All right, let me get these streams in here. Dreads, what's your Twitch again? It's Twitch.
It's just Dreads.
Okay,
Dreads.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep,
Okay.
just right there. Yep.
Yeah, Gaara, how about you, man? Shout out.
Thank you.
Yeah, shout outs to all the viewers as always, and the people that also listen to the show on where can they listen to the show?
iTunes and Google and Android, and I think we're on Spotify now too, so you can listen to it.
Spotify now as well. That's great.
Yeah.
And Twitter, follow me on Twitter @TempoGaara. And that's it. Always fun to be on the show.
Yeah.
A lot of cool topics.
Thanks for rushing back, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. Instead of us moving the time. And I'll round things out. Thank the three of you guys for doing the show today. Everybody for tuning in, watching us. Like Gar said, you can check us out on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review if you like it, because it helps out in terms of people finding the podcast. And you can find us on SoundCloud too. That's one thing I forgot. SoundCloud.com/ChanManV if you just want to listen to us on your PC or you got SoundCloud app or whatever. You can find the VODs on YouTube.com/ChanManV. And big shout out to HSReplay.net, of course, for obviously helping us be able to do the show too. And let's see, I think that's going to be it, guys, for this week. So for Dreads, ShadyBunny, Gaara, and myself, ChanManV, see you next week.
See you guys. Alrighty.